All right, church, thank you for tuning in. We are in Mark chapter 5. There is another kind of long narrative here in chapter 5. We looked yesterday at the man named Legion with many demons, whom Jesus cast them all out. Today, there is the passage about a man named Jairus and his daughter, who is extremely sick and then dies, and he raises her from the dead. And then right in the middle of that passage, there is a woman with a discharge of blood for 12 years who touches him and is healed. Okay, this is Mark chapter 5, verse 21 through 43. It's a pretty long section, and it's two stories for the price of one. Mark does this kind of fairly often, and he stacks his stories together, a lot of stories that follow one theme, and he stacks them together. In this one, it's the story of Jairus and his daughter, she is sick and then she dies, and Jesus raises her from the dead. But right in the middle of the story, there's this other healing that happens right in the middle of the one story. So there's a couple of lessons that we're going to draw out from it. I want you to read it on your own. It is verse 21 through 43. It's pretty long. If I read it to you, this video will go way longer, and I trust that you can read it on your own, and I also trust that you're familiar with it because it's pretty well known. But he goes back across the lake. Remember, they kick him out. They don't want him over there where he casts the demons out. They don't like him. So he goes back again to the other side. A great crowd gathered about him. He's beside the sea. Same as when he left, basically, in chapter 4. And then came one of the rulers of the synagogue, Jairus by name. And seeing him, he fell at his feet and implored him earnestly, saying, "My little daughter is at the point of death. Come and lay your hands on her so that she may be made well and live." And he went with him. Okay, and a great crowd followed him and thronged about him. So there's two crowds here. It's two mentions of a crowd. It's obviously the same crowd. He crossed again to the other side. A great crowd gathered about him, and he's beside the sea. It doesn't say what he does with them. It doesn't say that a healing has happened, a sermon being preached, a parable, anything. He just comes across, and the crowd gathers. They know him. They recognize him. Remember, the guy with the demons on the other side of the lake recognized him from afar. It came running up to him. Now, he had a demonic possession, of course, and there's some sort of spiritual activity going on. But here, he's back on the other side. It's just a crowd. There's no mention of a spiritual action, but they're eager to see him. They come. They must know, hey, I think that's the boat. That's the guy. He's coming. Get over to the shore. It looks like he's coming to this dock. Let's be there. He's got Andrew and Simon's boat. We know where that dock's at, or something. Like there's some, they gather there. A great crowd gathered about him, and he's beside the sea. They're waiting. The word is going out. Jesus is coming. Jesus is coming. The crowd gathers there, okay? This guy is not just famous. He is loved. He is, some of them are outright worshiping him. Others they love this guy. They want to know about him. Whatever he does is news. And crowds gather wherever he shows up here in Galilee. Okay. And this guy, Jairus, shows up. One of the rulers of the synagogue, seeing him, fell at his feet, implored him earnestly. My little daughter's sick. Same idea as the demon-possessed man just did earlier in the chapter. Comes running up to him. I adjure you, do not, he's begging. We looked at it last week. He begged him earnestly not to send him out of the country. And that's the demon-possessed man. And now Jairus is imploring him earnestly, heal my daughter, runs up to him. As soon as he crosses the lake, on one side, there's a guy run up to him. On the other side, there's a whole crowd with a guy who's in great need for his daughter. He's imploring him earnestly. They're begging Jesus. Jesus has something that no one else has. No one else can, that there's no hope for it. All right? And they come running to him. They bow the knee. And just think about this Jairus guy. He's a ruler of the synagogue. And we already saw back in chapter 3, chapter 2 and 3, where they're starting to ask these questions of him and getting more and more pointed questions, and then they eventually start accusing him of being satanic. By the power of Beelzebub is how he's casting out demons, all this nonsense. Direct blasphemy. This is a ruler of the synagogue running to Jesus, bowing down to him. at a time when a lot of these religious leaders have already basically declared war on Jesus and said, we hate him, he's bad, we don't like him, everything he does is bad, don't trust him. And this synagogue ruler Jairus has no qualms about it in front of a large crowd to run up and bow down to him. That's a powerful statement, and he does not care because he's desperate, because he knows Jesus has something. Same as the demons. The demon, that guy wouldn't bow to anybody. They would chain him up and he would rip the chains off. We saw earlier in chapter 5 yesterday. But he'll bow to Jesus. Every knee bows to Jesus. Heaven and earth and under the earth. All right? And so Jesus goes with him. Lay your hands on her so she may be made well and live. The crowd follows him. They thronged about him, it says. And now there's a woman with a discharge of blood. This is some sort of she's having her period or whatever is the indication that just won't ever go away for 12 years. It's obviously some significant problem. And it says that she has, verse 26, she had suffered much under many physicians and had spent all that she had and was no better, but rather grew worse. This stuff, I mean, it happened back in the day. There were bad doctors and bad medicine. You still hear this stuff. People going in and they don't get fixed up because she had suffered much. She was out of money. She was out of hope. There's this large crowd. She's just somehow blending into the crowd, sneaks up. She says, if I just touch his garment, I'll be healed. And it happens, and she is healed. And it's a miracle, okay? These two stories, though, happen side by side. They happen together. Here's this synagogue ruler of the synagogue, important guy. Really important, with an urgent request, comes up, bows earnestly, begging Jesus' help. Okay, and then here's this other lady, ceremonially unclean for bleeding, like this. She's suffered much under many physicians. Nobody can help her. She's out of money, so she's poor. She's bleeding. She's sick. She's desperate. She can't go into the synagogue. She would probably never cross paths with this synagogue ruler. He wouldn't want to because she's unclean and he runs a synagogue. And she would be afraid and timid too. And she's clearly very timid here. She had heard reports of Jesus about Jesus and came up behind him in a crowd and touched his garment. If I touch even his garments, I'll be made well. Okay, Jesus says, who touched me? And she's like kind of hiding there. And the woman, knowing what had happened to her, came in fear and trembling, fell down before him and told him the whole truth. Daughter, your faith has made you well, he says, go in peace. She doesn't come running up to him like Jairus and bends the knee and, please, Jesus, would you help me, please? She doesn't. She sneaks up behind him, touches him, and the indication she was just going to kind of walk away and not draw any attention to herself. She probably doesn't think she's worthy of Jesus' attention. She probably doesn't think she's worthy of Jairus' attention. His daughter's going to die. They're probably in a hurry to his house. I don't want to slow him down. I'll just touch him and be out of here and hope it worked. I got nothing else to lose, right? So she does not feel as though she doesn't have the boldness to just come to him like Jairus did. She does not feel that she has any kind of importance to herself, that she deserves any of his attention. She doesn't think she'll get it. She doesn't think she's worthy of it. But boom, it happens anyway. Your faith has made you well. Go in peace, Jesus says to her. Now, that little event probably slowed him down, right? You got a little girl who's dying. You're in a hurry to go there, right? Well, why slow down for this lady? Well, because you're Jesus and you love everybody and you're not to be served, but to serve. And he's God, he can raise the dead, and he knows this. Okay, so there's a couple of messages here just right off the bat. Number one, Jesus doesn't give Jairus a special privilege just because he's important. He'll go do it, but he'll also stop and heal another lady on the way. And he'll address her issue. Instead of just allowing the power to go out from his garments. That's a really remarkable miracle, by the way, just in passing. But he doesn't just allow it to happen and then keep on his way and she keeps on her way. No, he stops. He wants to address her. He wants to make sure that she knows where this healing came from, who he is, and that she, daughter, your faith has made you well, go in peace. be healed of your disease. Like he wants to give her attention. She who doesn't think she deserves any attention. All right. Now he gets there, and they're all weeping and crying and yelling. And while he's speaking to this woman, they come. Some come from the house. Says, "Your daughter's dead. Why trouble the teacher any further?" He says, "Do not fear, only believe." He allows no one to follow him except Jairus and his wife, the girl's mother, Peter, James, and John. And they get there. They're all weeping and yelling and all this. And he says, "Hey, what's the commotion about? She's not dead, she's asleep." And they laugh at him. I mean, I guess if that's your daughter, somebody comes to your house who you don't know, who says she's not dead but asleep, your choices are laugh at him or punch him in the face. You're like, "Who are you, buddy?" And they laugh at him. Or your third choice would be to recognize that this is the Son of God and trust him. But they obviously do not. He goes in there, taking her by the hand, "Talitha kumi," little girl, I say to you, arise. Immediately she gets up, begins walking around. She's 12 years old. They're overcome with amazement. He strictly charged them that no one should know this and told them to give her something to eat. She's healed. She's not healed. She's resurrected from the dead. She's healthy. She's hungry to eat. She's walking around. She's not still sick. She didn't really fall asleep. She's dead. He's waking her up. He's bringing her new life to her, and he tells them to think of it like sleep. All right, just a straight up miracle. He can heal the unclean woman with the disease that nobody else could heal. He can raise the dead that nobody thinks is possible. He's God. He doesn't respect the man Jairus just because he's important. He doesn't disdain the woman with blood just because she's poor and unclean. He'll heal them all. He'll do it all. But take note, the crowd is not here. He is separated from them. He says, "Just you three, Mom and Dad, you come with me, and you three, Peter, James, John, you come with me. I'm going to go do something." The crowd is left behind. I don't know exactly the reasons, but he strictly warns them and tells them, "Don't tell anybody. Don't do this. Don't make it known." All right, he's holding out for the right time, which of course is the opposite of what he did with the demon-possessed man, Legion. He tells him to go tell everybody. That was on the other side of the lake, though. That was a different kingdom. That was a Gentile kingdom, and that was a different message there. All right, so what does it mean for you and I? What do we do with this? How do we apply this story into our lives? I would say there's several points. One, don't make excuses for why you don't deserve healing and why you shouldn't trust God for anything special. Okay, this woman, she's afraid, but she has no other place to put her hope in, and she's going to go to him anyway. Jairus knows it's a long shot. No, it's too late. She's dead. I don't care. Jesus says, "Don't even fear. Just believe. Just follow him. Just go with him. Be with him. Invite him to your house. Invite him into your life. Invite him into your unclean sin parts of your life. Invite him everywhere. Get with him. Follow him closely. Be with him. Be the ones that follow him everywhere. Be the crowd that throngs to the shore when you see him coming. All your hope is here. All your hope is in him." All right, we know that some of this crowd is going to continue to follow him everywhere. Some is going to kind of come and go at different times. Be the group that throngs around him, that pushes up against him, touches him, be with him, have him in every element, every aspect, every moment of your life. Make it all about Jesus. I'm going to get up and walk over here. I got people coming into this room in a minute. Make your life 100% dedicated, centered upon Christ, and make that all that you live for. That's it. Okay? If you think it's hopeless, go to Christ. If you think it's just a long shot, go to Christ. Whatever your issue is, go to Christ with all of it. Trust him for the whole way through it. And think of it like this desperate attitude that Jairus had and that this woman had. They are desperate. Okay, are you desperate for Christ? Maybe you don't need a healing. Maybe you're perfectly healthy right now. You're in pretty good shape. You got no major issues. Guess what? You can still be desperate for Christ. Say, "Jesus, I need you. I need more of you. I need all of you. I need you 100% of you. I need everything. Jesus, I just need you. Give me a hunger for you. Give me a hunger and a thirst. Give me a desperation. I don't have a desperation. I don't have love for you, Jesus, the way I'm supposed to. Give it to me. He's God. God is love. You don't have enough love? Okay, go to the source of love, which is God, and ask him to give it to you. And beg him and follow him and touch him and hold close to him and bow and bend the knee to him and ask him, Lord God, give me a desperation for you. Give me a desperation. Forgive me for not having a desperation for you. Give me a deep longing, a desire for you and a hunger for you. Pray that prayer. And that's a prayer he will answer. Okay, and follow him wherever he goes. Praise the Lord. We'll get into chapter 6 tomorrow. God bless you.